Home inspection, a very important part of the process of buying and selling real estate, and today we're going to talk about it. Kicking it off, who pays for the home inspection? Typically the buyer pays for it, and now you're asking, what is that price point looking like on a home inspection? And typically I put approximation, so approximate around $350, and maybe asking, why do I need to pay that? Or, that's a little bit expensive, don't you think? Well, the way I frame it and the way I look at it is it's better to pay $350, if that's like the number that it comes out to be, than thousands of dollars in repairs of something you may have missed. Maybe even if you know a lot of hands-on stuff, there's still little things that you may not know that you might miss that an inspector could catch, which could ultimately save you thousands of dollars. That's one way that I look at it. And what happens in a home inspection? So the home inspector is going to come out, and I have a bunch of stuff written on here. So these are a lot of common things that they look for. It's leaks. So they'll check underneath your sink, is there any pipes leaking there, and also leaks anywhere else. That's one thing that they'll do. Foundation, so they'll see if there's any cracks. They'll go down in the basement, the crawl space, try to find any cracks in the foundation or any problems with the foundation. That's one thing that they'll do. Any electrical, so they'll look at the panel, see if there's anything wrong with the panel, or they'll test all the outlets and see if they work, flip on a bunch of lights, see if there's anything electrical that they could see or potentially have an issue with. That's another thing. Appliances, they'll make sure that the fridge is working on, off. They'll run a load in the dishwasher potentially. And the same thing with washer dryer, same thing. Roof, so they'll go on top of the roof typically and see if there's any shingles that are problems, or try to find like anything that could potentially be a problem. And that's the roof. Crawl space, so they go down the crawl space, try to look at like I said earlier with foundation. Is there any foundation issues? Is there maybe the start of potentially mold presence building up down there? That's one thing that they'll do. Siding, so they'll try to see if there's any like loose siding or any obvious red flags that they could see potentially on that. The HVAC system, so they'll see if the AC is working, the heating is working, everything look good there, solid. Downspouts, so see if the downspouts coming down from the roof before the water comes in the rain, see if they're out far enough, because sometimes you're too short and the water is going straight, pointing at the house. And if there's a problem, this water seepage, and it could be a bad problem. Attic insulation, so they'll go up in the attic usually and see if there's enough insulation up there. Is there any problems up in the attic? That's one thing. Sprinkler system, see if all the zones are working. See if potentially there's a zone that could be wrong, and it's something they could write up. And another one that I put is garage door. Does the garage door opener work? Is there a problem with it? Does it look like it may have an issue? And they're not like specific professionals in all of these. Are just general. They have like a general knowledge and idea. So they're basically like a doctor, and if they find like a problem with a roof, they'll refer you to like a specialist. If you go to a doctor and they see something with your ear and throat, well then the doctor refers you to an ear and throat specialist. The same thing, with any of these problems. Contact X professionalism to take a look at it or repair it. That's basically how it goes. So that's basically what happens at a home inspection. They look for a lot of these things and try to find problems. And let's just say on negotiations next, let's just say that, for example, there's something with the siding, like there's some siding missing or something like that. That's a minor one. But now you can get into negotiations and ask the seller to repair it. Maybe the seller is like, okay, whatever, it's fine. It's just going to come up again next inspection. We can go ahead and do that. We're nice. Or maybe it's something they found in the inspection, maybe a leaking pipe or something. So that's could be a little bit more costly if it, in turn, the pipe is a root cause of another issue. If the professional goes out there and looks at it, well, now you can ask for a credit instead. Basically, like the credit it helps out with closing costs. So instead of maybe paying $5,000 in closing costs, maybe you ask the seller for, can you give me $1,000 credit for XYZ problem? And in essence, the money that you're not spending on closing costs, you have that cash to fix that problem yourself. Because maybe sometimes it's honestly sometimes easier to ask for credit from the other point of view. So the seller could fix whatever problem they have. Maybe it's, I don't know, something else comes up and the buyer's like, it's not technically how we want it to be fixed. So some communication could be off there. You know, it could just be easier. It's like, you know what, just give them a credit, they can fix it, it'll be okay. That's one way to look at it. And if it's in a home inspection contingency, which there's a good chance it is, meaning, let's just say that the inspector finds a foundation issue, it's a huge red flag, even enough for him to realize, and now the buyer could, you know, walk away from the contract if it's a huge red flag and keep your earnest money. So that's pretty much, you know, why it's kind of important to spend that $350 to find something that could be thousands in repairs, or if you don't want to deal with it, you can walk away from the contract and keep your earnest money. So it's kind of a win-win there. And is it required? It's not required, but it's recommended, just in case, like I was saying earlier, any of these problems come up that, you know, you can take a look at now. And like I said here, yeah, you can find problems you didn't even think of. So like I said, you know, maybe you're a hands-on guy, you can see a lot of things that potentially are red flags or going to be red flags. Well, there's maybe one little field, like maybe you don't know enough about a roof to see like, oh, that's going to be a problem here soon and stuff like that. And also it gives you a way out of the contract in case something huge is that will come up. So hopefully you learned something from this video on home inspection. Is it required? No, but it's highly recommended because of the things that, you know, the inspector could find. But if you have any questions on anything else, like any negotiation tactics or maybe a little bit more of kind of what they do, drop a comment. I'll go ahead and make a video specifically on it. But thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye.